welcome back to the check-in. This is episode 15. I can't believe it's been almost 4 months already.
It's amazing how quickly the time has gone.
Yeah, and we've got Errol with us again, and I'm Phil Kloppers. It's been a good couple of weeks. Really enjoyed them.
Yeah, it has been. And just for the people who don't know who Phil Kloppers is, he's our technical director here at Norwegian Settlers Church. He's the guy that knows all the technical stuff. If you've got a computer problem, or one of the projectors is not working properly, or if the sound's not working, or microphone's not working, he's the man who sorts it out.
That's me, yeah.
And he does it very well.
Yeah, I need a T-shirt made that says "That guy" on the back. So,
yeah,
who does he? That guy.
Yeah. It's quite amusing. On one Wednesday, at our Wednesday service, there was one of the guitar chords that was making a noise, and we tried plugging it in on different guitars, but it made the same noise on whichever guitar it was plugged in on. So eventually they unplugged it, and fortunately the one guy had a guitar cord in his vehicle, so he went and fetched that. But the interesting thing to me was, the first thing they said was, didn't Phil check this? And I thought to myself, why on earth do they think that Phil is going to check that? And so you get all the blame.
I get all the blame.
So I'm trying to give you a little bit of credit this evening for the fact that most times, 99% of the time, things just run so smoothly.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. As I said at the one pastors meeting, in our debriefs, you very often say we had a few technical problems.
Yeah.
And I'd sit there, I'd been in the service, and I wasn't aware of any technical problems at all. And I'd be quite astounded by some of the stuff that you mentioned. But since then, I've learnt what to do. Just watch Phil. When he runs up and down to the stage and back very quickly, you know there are technical problems. I might not know what the problems are, but I know that there are technical problems.
Yeah, of course that happened quite a bit this Sunday. We had several challenges on Sunday. Yeah, this Sunday, of course, was a very different Sunday. A very different Sunday. And I still don't fully understand how you guys manage it, but it's just amazing because for those who weren't there, we actually showed a sermon that Trevor preached in America. That's right, yeah.
And we had it here in our church, Trevor preaching via video. I don't know how they got the thing here, but anyway, they got it here. And it was a very good service as well, lovely sermon.
Yeah.
So,
it was an interesting service on Sunday, even from sort of before we get here, sort of 7 o'clock in the morning, setting up. And even from then, there was sort of this kind of a heavy atmosphere that we were feeling. And then, of course, just before the service, we found out that Dave and Val had some troubles out in Lesotho.
Yes.
So it was an interesting service, and things were going wrong, and which we managed to sort out. But then we prayed for Dave, for the safety of Dave and Val, and for their release with all the elders up on stage. And what an amazing God, eh? Then later that afternoon, they were back home.
Yeah, and in fact, I was involved in prayer, first of all, in Jeff's office before the service, and then of course there was the elders praying on stage afterwards, during the service. And somewhere along the line, I can't remember which one, I almost think it was the on stage where Mike prayed. And he prayed for their release. The same way that the church prayed for Peter, and an angel came and organized his release. They prayed for the release because they'd been placed under arrest on trumped up charges, things that were totally untrue. And I can just imagine what they must have felt like, this lovely Irish couple. I remember when I first came down to the coast in 2008, we actually had Dave come and speak to our men and share the testimony of what was happening in Lesotho way back then. They've built that creche, they've built a house for the pastor there, They built a house for themselves where they could stay when they went up and visited. They've poured so much time and money into that project. And just to see it come to nothing the way it did with these, it is so sad. But of course the Lord knows.
Yeah.
And He works things out. But the wonderful thing is, when they got to the border post, they were told they've got to go back to the police station. They're not allowed out. When they got back, they were placed under arrest. And they managed to get a message through to us, and we prayed, and they were released. They got home that Sunday evening to Shelley Beach. And that's such a wonderful testimony. God hears our prayers, and He answers them.
He is alive.
And He answers them in such amazing ways. And I just love being a Christian, and I just love this church because they care about the people that are involved. And Dave and Val have been on our missionaries. I believe that on Sunday or sometime their photographs actually fell off the wall of the missionaries that we have. But they are still missionaries anyway. But I don't know if that was some kind of symbolic thing. I don't know. But
they're beautiful people as well.
They are.
We really love and appreciate
people.
them.
Sometimes it's difficult to understand them. They've got a very broad Irish accent, and you've got to listen very carefully. But they are such a lovely couple, and they just love people.
Yeah.
Wherever they've been involved in helping underprivileged people, the poor.
Yeah.
And it's just been absolutely amazing. I love them both.
Yeah.
And over the years I've had quite a bit of contact with them, and they've always been an inspiration. And the stuff that they've brought in, they used to bring stuff in from the UK, clothes and books and all sorts of
toys
stuff.
and
Toys.
Yeah.
No, they've done an absolutely amazing job.
Yeah. And then of course Trevor spoke about Haggai on Sunday. Consider your ways. Sort of,
now therefore consider your ways.
Yeah. Sort of broke that down word for word.
That's right.
Yeah.
And spent a bit of time just having a look at that word consider. And it was an excellent, really a good sermon.
Yeah, I love the picture that he painted of sort of mentorship and learnership almost, the responsibilities of generations within the church, and the value that comes with that.
Right. The challenge for the young people to look for a mentor and to respect those that are older and learn from their experience, and then a challenge to the older people to be that kind of example.
The best that they,
it was really good. It was outstanding.
And there's so many examples of that throughout Scripture. There's Elijah and Elisha and Moses and Aaron, and just even New Testament, Paul and Timothy, and there's so many of these pictures.
There are many of them. In fact, you're right. It's a model that works.
Yes.
So we've got to get it working.
Yeah. That's where the core of discipleship really happens. I mean, that's what Jesus did with the disciples.
Exactly what He did.
Just pick a couple and really invest in those few.
Yes. It's what works, and we don't need all the new stuff when the old stuff works. And that's last week I was just talking about when we were at that rocket place at Huntsville in Alabama in the States, and that guy told my son-in-law that they didn't upgrade their computers because the old ones worked. And if it works, it works.
Yeah.
You don't have to get all fancy about it, because very often with all the fancy, complicated, new technology stuff, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. You introduced new points of failure. Yeah.
Yes, I like that one, new points of failure. I have to try and remember that one. Yeah, that's because that's true. It's we see it a lot, especially with the new technology cell phones. There have been some major disasters that they've had.
Yeah, shame.
And although I have a theory anyway that somewhere on this little contraption there is a sensor. And when you pick it up and you hold it in your hand, it senses whether you over the age of 25 or under the age of 25. If it senses that you're under the age of 25, it cooperates with you and does whatever you want it to do.
25 or 55?
No, 25. You've got to be young to work these things. If you're over that, it just doesn't do anything you want it to do. It's been a joke. If my phone doesn't work, doesn't do what I wanted to do, I just look around for a grandchild. Please, sort this out. But yeah, it's quite amazing what they're able to do these days.
Yeah, technology really enables a lot of things. As we saw on Sunday with being able to just see Trevor.
Yes, it's incredible.
From the States. And then real time, obviously, send them their birthday wishes.
Yes.
That lovely little...
That was lovely.
Saying happy birthday to them.
Yeah,
It was fun. It needed
was
a few
lot of
attempts,
fun.
but...
Yeah, the music team had to get it right, the right version.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. The congregation really responded well in doing it, and they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when Trevor got that in, as you say, real time.
Yeah.
I believe he appreciated
they
that
very
as well.
much. I got messages from them now during the week just saying thank you. It was very special. So they really did appreciate it.
Yeah. So it's amazing what we can do.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. But yeah, as you say, but with all things, you can use it's the tool itself is just a tool. How you use it determines its value.
Yes. And that is so important.
And it's the same for us as Christians as well. The Bible it's a tool. How we apply that is where the value comes. You can just read it, or you can apply it.
Yeah. That is so true. It's not what we know about the Bible. It's what we obey that's found in the Bible that really counts.
Yeah, the application.
And I think Jesus made that quite clear when he came to the end of the Sermon on the Mount. He said, "It's not everyone who says to me, 'Lord, Lord,' because many will come to me in those days and say, 'Lord, we've cast out demons, we've brought healing to the sick. We've done all kinds of miraculous stuff.' And Jesus is going to say to them, 'Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. I don't know you.' And the others are going to be welcomed in to God's presence because they did what needed to be done.
Yeah.
It wasn't the big spectacular stuff. And that's the scary thing about what we see in the church today. Some of it is, it seems to me, and I don't want to be critical, but sometimes it just seems a little bit of showmanship. But all we've got to do, we just got to live according to the Word of God, and that to me has been the value of the minor prophets. I've spent a lot of time reading through. I've done what Trevor encouraged us to do right at the beginning of the series when he says, read through each book for that week. Just keep reading through it. And of course, most of them are short. Even ones that have, like Hosea, they've got 14 chapters. The chapters are short. They 6-7 verses long. And you get through them very, very quickly. And Obadiah only has one chapter, 21 verses. And Haggai's only got 2-3 chapters, and a lot of them are really short, easy to get through. But one of the things that has really struck me, that has stuck with me, is that where the Isaiahs and the Jeremiahs and the Ezekiels are speaking of these great big events, nations, Yeah. Huge things, conflict, wars,
end of days,
dramatic stuff that happens, and it's nice to read that, and it's exciting to read that, especially when you're seeing what's going to happen right at the end, and we realize we win. But the minor prophets are more directed towards individuals, and they're talking about things like corruption. They're talking about crime. They're talking about oppressing the poor. They're talking about not caring for the widows and the orphans. Very practical stuff. And really what it's saying is, God is saying to us as individuals, I want you to be kind. I want you to be merciful. I want you to be compassionate. I want you to care for those who can't care for themselves. I want you to look around and see what's going on and take note of it. And it's been an amazing challenge to me, even in my own home, because I'm not by nature the kindest person in the world. I'm not the most patient person in the world, and it's just really been a challenge. God wants me to live differently. So it's been, I've loved it.
Of course, that's the central message that Jesus brought as well.
Of course it is.
Love the Lord your God, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. That was it.
And that's the big thing. That's the two commands that are important for us as Christians, and if we can really keep them well, then we will be doing what is right.
We're doing okay. It's been a wonderful series, I must say. I've really enjoyed it.
I have.
Again, as you say, it's often overlooked, the minor prophets. But there's such meat in there, such value and practical things, as you were saying. These are day to day.
And they're also very different. They're different styles. I mean, you get some Micah. You get some of the best examples of Hebrew poetry in the whole Bible. You find them in Micah. And then you get you get books like Nahum, where there's no poetry, just prose. It's just a straightforward message to Nineveh, and saying, you didn't respond when you had the chance, you've backslidden, you're worse than you were before, now it's over, it's finished. And the language, the style of language just suits the message. One of the interesting things to me about the Hebrew Bible is the way in which the various parts really interconnect more than what we see in our English Old Testaments, in our Protestant Bibles. Mind you, the Catholic Bible's no better, but I'm not quite sure why the arrangement was changed from what it was in the Hebrew Bible, but and just reading through them, I've been looking at the way in which they interconnect with the law and with the former prophets who wrote books of history, and it's just been so challenging to me to see, this is the situation, this is the guy that spoke into that situation or lived during that time. So it was lovely. You get guys that just didn't actually prophesy, in the sense that their message didn't go out to the people. They ask God questions. Guy says, Lord, how can you tolerate? You're a holy God. How can you tolerate all this violence, all this corruption, all this stuff that's happening, this crime, this killing, this bloodshed? It's can't understand how you can allow it. So the Lord answers him and says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send the Babylonians along, and they are horrible, cruel people, and they're going to punish Jerusalem and Judah. And this is what's going to happen. And God tells him. And he says, Lord, how can you, as a holy God, allow people who are unholy, who are worse than us, to punish us? That's not right. And there's this conversation between the prophet and God, and it's so lovely, because very often the questions that the prophet was asking are the questions that we ask of the Lord. Why do you allow crime? Why do these things happen? And of course, God doesn't give us detailed answers.
No.
We've just got to learn to trust Him. He is God. He's a good God.
Yeah.
He's a loving God.
Yeah.
And He knows the beginning from the end, and He's saying, trust me.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And this message has sort of come through very clearly to me as I've been studying them. So,
because Job is one of the best examples of that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Were you there when I did this? And
Yeah.
have you seen this? And
Yeah.
just relax.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Yeah. I know a little bit more than you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's been lovely. So that's good. Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes, just talking about why do bad things happen to good people, was just a retort almost, if you like, saying a bad thing has only ever happened to a good person once, and he volunteered for it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
There are no good people.
We've
all
sinned. We're all
sinned.
bad. You're right.
We've all
That's
sinned
right.
and fallen short.
The only bad thing that happened to a good person was what happened to Jesus.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I like that, Phil. Yeah, that's good. I'll remember. I might use it in a sermon one day. If I remember where I got it from, I'll quote you. But no, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah.
It just
because
gives a bit of perspective.
So true.
Yeah.
It does. It puts everything into its proper perspective. And of course,
it's only by grace that we actually have what we have.
Only by grace. And we're coming up to that time of the year where we're remembering the actual demonstration of this grace, that God so loved that He gave His Son. And this Son came in the form of a baby. And of course, the whole Advent season is very exciting. You see it in the shopping centres already, decorations and lights.
Yeah.
And it's all about little babies. But of course, to us as Christians, Christmas is a lot more than that. And what is our theme for this Advent period?
The greatest gift.
The greatest gift.
Yeah.
And
get so caught up in giving, in gifting.
Right.
Just focus on the real gift.
It's so important, because there is no gift greater than this.
I think we did something called the Advent Conspiracy a couple of years back.
Yes.
And one of the core messages there was the greatest gift that we can give isn't our finances or spending lavishly, spending as much as you can. Or, it's giving our time.
Yes.
And that's exactly what Jesus did, what God did.
Right.
He took His time and spent time with us.
Yeah, that is so true. Jesus makes a statement that the one who wants to save his life is going to lose it. The one who loses his life is going to save it. And you ask yourself the question, what is life? Life is really time. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Time I was born, time I died. If you look out that window and you see all the little gravestones there in that graveyard, that's what they say. Guy was born this day, he died this day, that's his life.
Yeah.
And when we give people time, we're sharing our life with them.
Yeah.
And if we do it in a positive, helpful way, then it's really meaningful. When we give them all the negatives, and then that's unfortunately not quite so meaningful. But that's true. God gave us His Son. His Son came and He gave His life, not just in the sense that He died, but that He lived.
He was present with us.
He was present with us.
Yeah.
He spoke to us. He was interested in our lives, in the things that happened to us.
Yeah.
And the challenging thing is, of course, Jesus spoke to people that others considered unimportant. The big problem the religious guys had with Jesus was He spent His time with sinners, with prostitutes, with publicans, with that's tax collectors. And they've always had a bad rep.
Yeah.
But he spent His time with what they wrote off as sinners, people that are really not worth anything. And those were the people that Jesus said, I'm giving you my time, my life, and everything that is inside of me. I'm sharing it with you, my wisdom, my knowledge, my love, my compassion, my power. And man, if we could just get a hold of that and live it out this Advent season, man, this would be a wonderful Christmas.
I'm looking forward to Christmas. I think it's going to be.
So am I. And it's good of you to remind us of that fact, Phil. That's what it's all about.
And of course, we've got quite a few events sort of around Christmas as well. We're really looking forward to.
It gets very busy.
We've got our wonderful Carols evening, which we're doing. I think it's Sunday the 22nd, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Which will be great.
Yeah.
And we're considering something new this year, which is a Christmas Eve service.
Yes.
So we'll be.
Yeah, in Europe, there's a fairly strong tradition of having the service on Christmas Eve, a special service, and there have been some of our members who are of German descent. This request came from, and so we've considered it. And if there is a response, if there is a need, then we're really thinking of doing something like this for them.
Christmas Eve,
It'll be something new that we've never done before. As far as I know, I don't know what happened when the Norwegian settlers first arrived here. They probably had a
Lutheran, it's most likely,
a Christmas Eve service. But anyway, that kind of fell by the way. But we'll see what happens.
We'll chat more about it on Sunday and kind of just let the congregation know and see how many people might be interested.
See what kind of response there is to that suggestion.
I remember as a youngster, obviously my heritage is Afrikaans and German.
Yes. Okay.
So on the German side, we'd have our Christmas Eve service and get to open our presents on Christmas Eve.
That's right.
But it was only after a 3-hour
service,
Lutheran service in German. So we loved going to having Christmas with the German side because we get to open our presents early. But you'd have to sit through all of this first. And then, of course, the Afrikaans side, we'd have to wait for Christmas morning. But it was so much more fun. It was always this, which one are we going?
That's a lot of fun. It's lovely. But it's it's nice to have all these different traditions as well. And the Christmas Eve opening of presents, which we as kids did do on a few occasions. That was of course wonderful, because I remember very well. My parents bought me an electric train set for Christmas. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I was awake the whole night. I was designing track layouts and stuff. And of course, it was just a simple, one steam locomotive and about 3 or 4 coaches that came with it and just loop tracks. But in my mind, that night, I had all kinds of things that I was trying to do, and I didn't sleep a wink. And of course, my parents were ready to kill me by the time came for them to get up, because I would want to know, what is the time? What is the time? When is the time to get up? And we used to get up early on Christmas morning so that we could do the present thing and then get dressed and go to church. We always had an earlier service on Christmas Day because there was no Sunday school or something like that. But I remember that so well. My dad told me that's the last time I'm getting an electric train set as a Christmas present, and it was. I never got it again.
Last time I let you know what it is beforehand.
That's it. I was actually with them. I was able to choose it, and it was just something very special to me. But of course, there is almost a sad thing to that. I, with my sort of theological background, I haven't been a great supporter of the sort of trappings that very often go with Christmas, and although I've never made an issue of it, we've had Christmas trees at home, although I think that there is perhaps a pagan origin of those things. But anyway, as long as we're putting Jesus at the center of stuff. But I remember one man, I'd just been, in fact, I was actually lecturing at seminary, and I was at the same time I was pastoring a local church, just to help them. They didn't have a pastor, and when we came to planning the Sunday school event, they wanted a Father Christmas.
Okay. And
I wasn't overly enthusiastic about that. I was happy for them to give children gifts. Anyway, I wasn't going to make an issue of it. You don't want to fight about things that you don't need to fight about. And these things are not really issues that we need to get all in a knot about. So I said, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. And the guy that was, I can't remember exactly what his position is, but he was quite involved. His wife was the superintendent of the Sunday school. And this Father Christmas arrived, and with his bag of gifts over and the little kids just went wild. I mean, they went crazy. He's dressed in his red uniform and beard and all the rest of it. And this guy came and said to me, "Did you want to deprive these children of this level of excitement?" And I said, "I would rather see them getting excited about Jesus than about some fictional, legendary, mythical figure that I know very little about and have very little interest in." And that's what we see in the world today. There's this distraction. Christmas is about the birth of Jesus, the Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, the guy that's going to rule in this world. That's what it's about. It's not about some obese guy from, I don't know, North Pole or wherever it's supposed to be from. And it's sad when the message gets deflected a bit,
diluted,
and we lose sight of what it's really about. And I just trust that we start getting back to the heart of Christmas and really understand what it's about. It's not about the gifts. Although that's an important part of it. It's not just about the excitement. It's not just about a lovely meal. Although these things are
great,
are great things, and they are part of the whole Christmas celebration. I'm always encouraged by the fact that Jesus had so many meals with so many people, and so many things, important things happened, so many important discussions, teaching transpired over a meal. And if we can turn our Christmas meals into something that is equally inspiring, that would be great. Enjoy the meal, Christmas pudding and all the rest of it. So I'm looking forward to it this year. Of course, as a grandfather, I have that extra privilege of being able to enjoy it with grandchildren, and that's something I really do enjoy. I just love it.
We asked our Facebook, our congregation on Facebook, when do you start putting up your Christmas decorations? Have you started putting yours up yet? Well, better question, has Aggie started putting yours up yet?
Okay, point taken. No, not yet. We'll probably get some of the kids to come in and help us, and I should imagine we'll be doing it fairly soon. What happens is I have a December birthday.
Okay.
And in our home the tradition has been that the Christmas decorations go up around about the time of my birthday.
Okay.
So it's a public holiday, so nobody's got anything to do except decorate the tree.
Very good. Well, you're off. Time has flown by today.
Wow.
Thank you for our chat.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it again, as always.
Thank you for having me, Phil. I really do appreciate it. I have a lot of fun
Yeah.
with these podcasts.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening in and for watching if you're watching on YouTube. If you missed Trevor's message on Sunday, just hop on over to our website, www.nsc.za.org, and click on watch at the top right hand side. If you haven't seen our Facebook page, hop on over to that. It's NSC Marburg on Facebook. Like our page, you'll get notified of all the new posts, news that's happening, things that are going on in the church. We've got a group as well where you're welcome to post your own messages and news.
Do you have to be a friend of Norwegian settlers in order to post
you just like the page.
Oh, you just like the page.
Like the page.
Okay.
On the group, you join the group and then you can post. Yeah.
Right.
It is a closed group, so it's moderated. It's not just just riff-raff.
I know very little about Facebook, so thank you.
But if you've enjoyed today's chat, please like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. Again, if you have any prayer requests, let us know in the comments or email us at podcast@nsc.za.org. We'd love to pray for you.
And we really would.
Yeah, share this video with your friends. Thank you. Been a great one. See you next week.
Yeah,
Cheers.
good.